Yeah, thank you again for joining me. Today we'll talk about a special case of proportion. Special case, so we're still on proportion. Special case on proportion. Yeah, we realize why we cannot use the direct and inverse proportion to solve these problems. Let us see question 2. If 5 men take 8 days to type 10 books, apply the principle of variation to find out how many days 8 men would take to type 2 books. So they say we should apply the principle of variation. That means you check out which of the variables or the terms are directly related or inversely or jointly. And if possible, if what you can see, it's the partial variation. But of course, there's nothing like partial variation here. So we have either direct variation or inverse. So if 5 men, let's take that for number of men. Let's take that number of men, take it as NB. Of course, if 5 men take 8 days, of course, it means 5 men, number of men, will be directly proportional to the number of books. Put it as n subscript B. Okay, this one should be n subscript M, number of men, n subscript M. And this should be, okay, permit me to still write that. And the number of men should be inversely proportional to the number of days, n subscript D, which means the more men we have, the lesser the days. So they don't increase correspondingly. Do you understand? So it means number of men is inversely proportional to the number of days. But if we have more men, of course, the number of men, the more the books they will type. So there's a direct relationship between that. So I can now write that as this number of men can, of course, is directly related to this, inversely proportional to this. So I can take that as K times n subscript B upon n subscript D. Since they've given us number of men to be 5, yeah, 5 to be equal to number of 8 days. D, that's down, and 10 books is K times 10 upon 8. That implies that 10K can be equal to 8 times 5, we have 40. Then automatically our K will be equal to 4. So our constant is 4. What are we looking for? They said find out how many days, number of days, that's the denominator. So number of days, if you take number of days, how many days? 8 men. So we have 8 to be equal to 4 times is actually constant multiplied by number of books. They gave us 2 books upon number of days. How long will it take 8 men to type 2 books? Of course, that will be 8 times n subscript D can be equal to 8. So our number of days can be 8 divided by 8. And that will be equals to 1. So we have 1 day. Just 1 day. So our answer is 1 day. Now you can solve this if not that you were given to specifically to solve by variation method, which may likely not actually be too cool with some people, but you can solve it directly. Yes, you can solve it directly. You can just go and use this. This is the second method we use for the other question. So you can just take this, you have the number of men times the number of what? Days times the number of books. I'll call them number of men 1, number of day 1, number of book 1 can be equal to the next session. Which other they ask you, okay, to find out how many days 8 men will take to type 2 books. If it can take 5 men 8 days to type 10 books, now you look for how many men. So each means the number of men times the number of days times the number of books can also be equal to what? Another set of number of men. Take this as 2 times number of what? Days, D2, times number of books, D2 too. So what do we have? So we are going to be having 5, putting in the values, times 8 times 10 to be equal to what? Number of men 8 times number of days, which we don't know, take it as D, then times 2. So what do you do? Divide both sides by 8 times 2. 8 times 2. This cancel this, this cancel this. 2 here 1, 2 here 5. Isn't it? So we have this, cancel this. So what do we have? The number of days can be equal to 5 times, oh sorry, this one should be, okay, 5. So we have this cancel out this cancel out this. What do we have there? The number of days can be equal to, so D can be equal to 25. 5 times 8 times 10 is equal to 8 times 2 times what? Which we don't have. So, okay, good. So we have 25 days. And this is all wrong. So, there's a better approach, which is exactly why we are here. It's a better and faster approach. So we go with that approach now. But you notice that there is an error in that work. So you have M1, D1, T1 times, okay, W2. So we are going to be having 8 times 10. So 5 times 8 times 2. Okay. Now, this is what will happen. The M1, D1, T1, then you change the other one to W2. So here, the number, you swap this one here. That's the idea behind it. If you're able to swap this, you will get the right answer. So thank you for making me see that. So we are having this. We are going to be having N M1, N D1, then you have N B2, then you have N B1. Can you see that we swap something there? So instead of having this, let me wipe this first. Let me wipe this. Right, let me wipe this. So I have 8 or 5 times 8, of course, for the number of this, then times the number of books will be 2 here. Then that will be equals to this 8 times the number of days we don't know, then times the number of book for the first book, the first set of book, which is 10. Are you seeing that? upon, so this one should be 8 times 10, 8 times 10. Of course, you should know you can never have 25 days. How do I know? There was a mistake. I know if 5 men, if you can take them 8 days to finish 10 books, then are you telling me it will take 8 men 25 days? It's not possible. So you need to be very, very conscious of what you are doing when you are doing your calculation. Very, 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 very conscious of it. So here we're going to be having this cancel out this cancel out this, 2 year 1, 2 year 5, 5 year 1, 5 year 1, 8 year 1, 8 year 1. So number of days should be equal to 1. Sorted. We're going to use this example, the same approach for example 2. The idea behind it is the third variable, you swap them before you multiply. That is the idea behind it. So get it and get it now. The next one, we have the question says it will take 3 days. Apply the principle of erosion. Okay, number 3. It will take 3 days for 6 boys to sweep a school compound. How long will it take 4 boys? This question 3 is just the one with only 2 variables. So we take this D1 times number of boys will be equal to D2 times N2. So that will be 3 times 6 can be equal to, how many days will it take what? 4 boys. And divide both sides by 4. Let's cancel out this. So what do we have here? 3 times 6. That is 18 divided by 4. That is 4 whole number 1 over 2. So if you take 4 boys, 4.5 days. As simple as that. Now using this principle, solve your own for number question or for question 1. The erection of a tower takes 24 men to complete in 15 days. How long will 9 men take to erect the tower when working at the same rate? Of course, this is similar to question 3. Yes. So what I did here is what you would do. You can search for more videos that are more questions rather that border on example 2 so that you can be good at solving such questions. Thank you. See you next time.